Welcome to another edition of Mortgage Talks. I'm your host, Adam Hires. Today is another exciting day. We have a beast on here. Listen, if you're listening to this podcast, you want to learn how to grow rapidly. You love the journey of going to a new state, and maybe you're stuck in business. You just can't go from 5 loans to 10 loans. You want to go to 20 loans. You want to go to 30 loans. Whatever you want to do, you want to massively grow. This is the podcast for you. This episode is definitely the podcast for you. If you're a real estate agent, it's just like my guest had shared, which we'll go into later, but he shared about my podcast was this journey that I'm on. It's exactly the same if you're a real estate agent, if you're an insurance agent, if you're a financial planner, whatever. There's all these industries you can apply the same exact things and tactics to. And so you got to go to top of funnel. You got to go and grab the business partnerships that you can and serve people at the highest level. All those things apply across different industries. And so when it's around the mortgage industry, they're all the same. So if you are, again, a real estate agent out there, you're listening, this is a great podcast for you to learn how to grow your business and think a little differently, grow your mindset, etc. So please listen to this guy when he gets on here. So let's talk about, I am on this mission from zero zilch, nothing, no contacts to 150 loans in a new state this year. And it's man, I tell you, good week last week, had some great conversations, had my Power 4 event, which is designed to help business professionals double their income, reduce their hours. And so I'm using my coaching platform, what I do, how I help people to grow their business. Had another great event here in Georgia, had 2 real estate agents come to me after and say, hey, how much is it for your coaching program? That's pretty cool, right? So that means they got a lot of impact. And so we had discussions. Hey, let's jump on some Zooms. Let's help you grow. We had a further conversation today. Called her up, did the follow up. Follow up and follow through is key. You have to continue to follow through. And they're like, hey, yeah, we want to do some kind of partnership things to help us grow. And so we're going to get on a further Zoom to have more conversations of how to grow together, how I can help them grow. Listen, that's just opening up a conversation, a true value add to people, not just saying, hey, just send me business. Hey, let's just get a cup of coffee. Now, you don't have to overthink it all the time or anything like that. Call people, make the dials. If you do enough dials, you're probably going to get business. But if you have, when you have, you should have, and I'm guarantee you do have a value add out there, but you need to search for it. It may not be what I have. You may have something different, unique to you. You probably do. And it's something that I won't be able to do. I won't be able to pull off because mine's authentic, and authenticity sells more than BS ever will. I am very authentic with what I say. I want to help people grow their business. If you're out there listening right now, this is not to sell a whole bunch of stuff on this podcast. While it may lead to that, my whole journey here is to give, to serve, to help you grow, whether you're a loan officer, real estate agent, financial planner, insurance agent, etc. That is what this is about. And that's what it is when I do these events. And so if you go with a servant attitude, things open up. So the big thing, as I talked about last week, is a reason to call. A lot of people just get stuck in the mud because they don't have a reason to call. They just think, okay, well, I don't know. I want to just keep on begging for business, right? That's a whole thing, begging for business. I don't ever beg for business. Now, if you think following up is begging for business, well, then, man, you just probably don't need to be in sales at all, because follow up and follow through is key. I don't care what you do, law of attraction. Somebody's going to have to follow through. Somebody is. Whether it's you, whether it's you have some assistant, somebody's going to have to follow through, because people just don't always follow through themselves until you continue to do it yourself. So the deal is, we had a great event. He's probably listening to this right now. Awesome agent that, he's connecting me with other people in and around the industry. We're doing a video shoot together. He's got a video company, which is really good. He got me on his video to do an interview. Good insurance agent trying to rapidly grow, and now we're having conversations how we can grow together. Man, so think about that. Those are good webbings, and again, it's from the servant attitude. So really good leverage this last week. However, what I'll say is, again, I will keep going back to this because I don't want to say like it's all roses and man, everything's good, right? Like I made a call today to invite somebody for my next event, and their mind doesn't even work correctly. Sometimes people just think, oh my gosh, there's a lender, and they just like there's a fuse that goes off. And she's like, well, I have two people for that, and basically hangs up. Well, I never asked you for business, and nor do I would I want to do business with you now anyway. But I was inviting you to an event to grow, and I can see your numbers, and you need to grow. So it's going to happen to all of us. But the biggest thing, again, I keep going back to is, urgent in action, patient with results. And I have to remind myself that because, these actions I'm doing, you try not to get too high. If you're out there, try not to get too high, try not to get too low, because all that can lead to disaster. But where, it's still, I have to remind myself because, it doesn't happen as fast as you always want it to. I'm in full Mach speed in all my action, and the results are not all piling up yet because it takes time. It takes time to build a relationship. It takes time to, sometimes, it may take somebody a little bit to get leads to you or whatever. There's all those things that goes along with it. And if you're out there and you're starting to try to grow, and if you're a real estate agent, I coach real estate agents, go top of funnel and get these business partnerships to grow your business. And which is a big eye-opening for real estate agents because they just never really think of that. And then it's funny, if you talk to real estate agents, you're like, well, I've kind of tried to grow my business, or I've tried to grow my network, and it's just never really worked. I've never really got deals. Well, welcome to the loan officer. Welcome to being like a loan officer, right? Like, you can't just call a real estate agent one time and expect all his business, right? You have to keep following up, and you have to stay in front of them. You have to add value. And so if you're a real estate agent out there, it's the same for you, because there's so many things that you can do to go top of funnel, but you're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to work for those partnerships. You're going to have to work for that divorce attorney, send you somebody. You're going to have to work for that financial planner, send you somebody. You're going to have to work for, that nursing home director to send you somebody. You're going to have to stay in front, stop top of mind. You're going to have to lead with value. So there's so many avenues to grow your business and go top of funnel, and not just go straight consumer direct, which is something that a lot of loan officers, and especially one that's on here, has learned. There's top of funnel and how to grow that top of funnel. So again, some good things coming out of what I'm doing. It's making me relearn my mindset of hey, things don't always pay off right off the bat. Keep on growing. Thank you so much, everybody out there, for tuning in to this mortgage talks here. Please subscribe. Please write me a review. I would love it. We're getting a lot more reviews, and I appreciate it. The podcast has went up over 300% in the last 4 months. It continues to grow, and that's because of you out there. I appreciate it, and the awesome guests I've had on there. So thank you so much. I'm very honored. All right. So enough of that. We're going to let my guest take the ship over and absolutely give you a ton of meat on the bone. Remember, this is a mortgage loan officer that is absolutely crushing it. If you, again, are a real estate agent, you're a financial planner, you are a insurance agent, take what he's going to tell you and apply it to your business. It absolutely can apply to your business. But this man right here did what I'm talking about doing. Moved to a new state, picked up cross country, and absolutely crushing it. And he has these huge, he's not stopped. It's not like he just goes, okay, I'm arrived. He's trying to 10X his business again, and he was going to talk through how he did it and how he's going about his new journey. So apply it to your business, listen up. We got Casey, buddy. How you doing?
Good, Adam.
Casey
How are
Knowles,
you?
what's going on?
Not a whole lot, man. I really appreciate being on. I kind of feel like after listening to your show and the podcast, I don't even know how much value I'd really add because I feel like you and I like speak the same language in a lot of ways. You do some things differently, but you're going over if you were to ask me what I would do, like you just kind of spit out like a third of what I would say. And so hopefully I can add some different angles to it. But in all honesty, I'm really attracted to the podcast because I feel like when I hear you talk, it's like me thinking. I'm like, that's the way it's got to go. That's the way it's got to happen, and that's the way it works. So when I first started listening to your podcast, I'm like, man, this guy's spitting fire. Like it's just the truth, and the truth is hopefully it's good and bad. It's hard work, but it works. You know what I mean? So if you have the ability to get where you want to get, and you got a roadmap, and somebody says this works, and somebody else backs it up, hopefully there's some confidence, that you can be confident going down this road that you're going to get a result.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you listening up and appreciate the kind words. And I know that you're going to have things that's you're going to add to this podcast for certain that's not been said or said a little differently, which, it's kind of like I remember when I was at Ashley Furniture and I was telling this crew how to sell a bed. Right. And I'm sitting there and I've been hammering this. And then we had this guy come in and he like said basically the same thing. They're like, oh man, I've never thought it that way. And I'm like, are you serious? But I didn't, but the point, I didn't get butthurt about it because they just somehow everybody resonates for different terminology. It's said just slightly different, and all of a sudden it's aha moment. So that's what I'm waiting for some of the people out there, and they're waiting for it. So I'm know that you're going to bring some aha moments here for some folks.
I hope so. And a lot of times it has to do with if you're listening, right? Like if you're really wanting to do good and somebody says something and you're listening for that cue, like because sometimes you're reaching for it, right? You're trying to find a way to succeed, and somebody says something, you're like, oh, it kind of makes sense now. I don't know. I get that all the time. Like with coaching, if I have a coach in the beginning, if I pay money to talk to somebody and I pay all this money, now I'm in a mind frame that, it's there, and I might be shaking my head going, that's not how I do it. Like, I don't, this guy's doing 10 times what I'm doing and I'm paying him and he's telling me what to do. And I'm like, that's not how I do it. It's not how I do it. Like that doesn't work for me. And then it takes me a while. And then all of a sudden, they say something, you're like, oh, okay. Like I can do it. Like I can see it now. And then it's just a change of mindset or change of perspective. You can take some information from somebody that's doing more than you or that's been more successful. And in the beginning, you fight it because, you've gotten to where you got thinking how you thinking I've been successful getting here. So how I think is correct, but you're not here to there, and so what you've been thinking, that's great from here to here, but that's not great another foot maybe. So, for me, I really have to search and let my ego go and go, where's the value here? Like, where's it at? Where's the piece that I can take? And that's pretty cool. So,
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I love it. You're absolutely right. I mean, and what got us here can't get us there. Right. And I think that, there's so many things the same way, but I always look at it. If somebody's doing it out there and if they are, that's how they expand their business and they are that far ahead. I mean, I have to be just really, egotistical to think that they don't have that roadmap somehow, some way. And so, I mean, that's a whole beauty of hanging around people that are, doing it at a higher level than you. And certainly you've been doing it for longer than me, and you've done what I'm trying to do. And that's why that's why I love guests like yourself coming on here, because I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to learn. I hope anybody listening to this podcast doesn't think I'm like, hey, I got everything figured out. I got a lot of things figured out, but it's kind of like my stepdad would always ask me, he said, well, he talks, that's how he talks. And, and I say less every day, because And I still say like less every day, because
Yeah.
the more I know, the more I realize I do not know. And that's the beauty.
Yeah, it's that circle thing, you know, what you know is here and what you don't know is around it, and circle gets bigger, and that outside the circle gets bigger too, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's probably, honestly, feel like my greatest strength right now is I'm really, I think I've just recently become a really good student, and or at least as good as I've ever been. And so that's something I'm kind of excited about. You know, I feel like before, a lot of the learning I did, it was very surface level. I'd take some stuff, and now I feel like I'm really diving into it, and there's a lot more to learn, and I'm really appreciating that process. And there's a lot of hope in that too, which is a lot of fun. You know, you kind of start tapping into what's your potential, like what's human potential, what can somebody really do. And you talked about the 10x thing. First of all, I hate that word 10x, because it gets thrown around the internet like it's you know it's a buzzword. And I did the 10x recently, which was really cool, but I still didn't want to throw it out there and say that. And anyway, there's, when it comes to what everybody is able to do, I think as you start breaking that ice, your realization is you really are capable, and everybody is capable of doing a lot more than you understand, until as you break through each level, like you said, that volume of what you can do or what you're capable of exponentially gets bigger. The potential in you is probably the same from day one, but you just start having some confidence that, hey, if I keep going, I keep doing my stuff day in and day out, like that stuff compounds, and you have the ability to do some stuff that you could never. You might look at Oprah Winfrey or Elon Musk or something and say, man, how does one person have 100 companies and have, $100 billion? And, I, I'm kind of getting to the point where I can kind of understand that a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I'm not within a million miles of that, but I can see it.
Yeah.
I can start to see it. Like I can understand that they did that one day at a time, with the number of tasks you can do in one day. It looks like a huge picture, but the truth is, it's just like, what am I going to do today? Am I going to do 2 or 3 things to move myself forward? And those things, they become very exponential, because it builds off of stuff, and there's a lot of compound interest in there that really works. And I've noticed that, lately, if I just get my daily tasks done, that at the end of the year, it's a pretty incredible change. And so that's, the whole potential side of it is something I'm pretty excited about. I'm curious, like, what could I do? So I try not to pick a number, at the end of the year, that I want to do a certain number now, because if I'd done that last year, I think I would have overshot it. And so my thinking is just a little bit different. I understand people to work backwards, but I kind of think if I do my day, if every day I do something, I'm going to learn a lot more in the next 6 months, that maybe my 1 year goal is really not enough.
Yeah.
I believe 100% you're going to kill this 150 number. You're going to just absolutely slay it. Like, I think you're going to be on such a pace at the end of the year. You're going to blow this 150 out of the number, because this work that you do day in and day out is going to exponentially grow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I mean, I love it. And I want to go back to a thing or something you said there, which you're like, hey, I couldn't see how Oprah Winfrey could do this. And now all of a sudden I'm seeing it, because that's a very good point when it comes to loan officers, real estate agents. I'll talk about those both. Is, how many times have you ever heard it, like somebody's like, well, they did that amount of number. Well, they got a team, right? It's like is that, I'm sorry, is that supposed to be a put down? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
do you think that Jeff Bezos is delivering your package? I mean, no, I haven't seen Jeff Bezos one time. I've got plenty of Amazon packages, right? But do I care if Jeff
And he
Bezos
wasn't born with the team either. He
what's
wasn't
that?
born with the team.
No, he built it, and that was hard. Yeah, and just like you have to build teams out, you have to build everything out, but then all of a sudden, because there's this cap, and I think we all hit that little bit of a cap. We're like, I don't think I can. And then you just have to learn a little bit more, and then you have to release. There's so many things that go along with it. But I always talk about
You get stronger.
You have to. Yeah, you have to. But I always talk about the 4%. Like everybody, 20%, you know, does 80% of the results. And I think you chunk it down one more 80-20, which is 4%. And like, what's the actual 4% that produces me the max amount of results? And then that's, if I can keep, who can I have in on my staff with my team to allow me to just really do most of all the 4%. And and I'm not down to the 4% yet. I do a 4%, but like, how can I get down to where that's basically only thing I'm doing is my 4%. And I think that's where we really expand, but it's work to get there, but it's like, okay, there's where I need to get down to the center of to really expand.
Yeah, for sure. It's each time as you dial down, like kind of what I was saying about getting stronger, I think, a lot of times as you get more successful, it's, a lot of times people think it's easier, and I think what's easier are the tasks that you used to do, because as you start working harder, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. So we're just talking about walking out in the snow. Like, you go do something that's hard, and you press yourself one or two items, and then you look back and the things that you're doing. Like, for example, if I was doing 6 loans and now I'm doing, say, 20 plus running a company, and then somebody said, hey, go back and do 6. Like, I still understand how it's hard for somebody to do 6. I still understand that, because I was there at one point. But as soon as you get that muscle built up a little bit and you're doing 20, and then you go, it's just like lifting weights, you're benching 135, and then 5 years later, you're benching 400, and you look back and you see people benching 135, and you're like, I recognize that that's heavy for you. Like, I'm not discounting the fact that it's heavy, but you got to work through it, because when you're benching 300, though, you can still go back and bench the 135, but it's not your body, your brain, everything, it will adjust, and it will adjust to the workload. And you'll be able to do more. And so it's not easier when you get better or stronger, because you're still pushing, you're pushing for the next thing. But you do grow, your capacity grows, your ability to emotionally and to manage things and to solve problems gets better. You get stronger. And so that's the cool thing, that, as far as doing a 10X, like, at one point I always wanted to make the Scotsman's Guide. It was like a big deal. And then the beginning last year, I'm like, this year I want to give it a shot. And so I will this year. And that was like a pretty cool thing for me, because I was never really in a spot before that I needed to grow. Everybody I was around, I was kind of like towards the top. And so, but once I moved out here, it was kind of a different game. And so to have those bigger rocks to push and the bigger weights to lift, like, it was a good thing, and so I think you have to keep pushing, because it actually makes everything else easier. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's you can definitely grow, what I mean, and you can keep growing, and that's a cool thing.
Yeah, I think it's like our mutual friend Dallas Hardcastle says, perceived exertion level, right? He talks about that, and it's very true, because I remember when I was lifting all the time, and I, deadlifting 800 pounds, like, well, does 500 pounds must feel, light to you? I'm like, yeah, I mean, kind of, yeah, but if I don't really try to pull it fast, or I don't really, if I'm not into it, it feels heavy, right? But if your mind sets for 800, you're gonna pull 500 very easy. And so that rate of perceived exertion is something huge. And by the way, shout out to Dallas Hardcastle. If you're looking to do a video sales letter, which will absolutely crush your business, I'm doing it right now. Go to hiresloans.com. You can see my great video sales letter. Doing another one for a Power 4 to really expand my business. Check out Dallas Hardcastle. And the code is Mortgage Talks to get your discount code.
But by the way, I'll vouch for Dallas too. Dallas is a badass. I love Dallas.
He is. Dallas just thinks, like when I start talking to Dallas, he just, certain people just think differently, just operated, different level. And Dallas is always that guy that every time I talk to him, I'm like, yeah, he's good. I mean, he's always good. I'm always trying to trying to keep up with his pacing, man. He's good stuff. He's a good guy. But yeah, so let's talk about, you went from California to Colorado to the beaches to the snow, and total different market. And you grew, bam, you talked about it. You were forced to grow, and this journey. Like, what did you do to grow? What was your growth? All that. Can you tell the listeners about that?
Yeah, so I had a lot of mortgage experience in California. It was in Central Valley, which is pretty much an agriculture area. So no beaches, pretty much, rednecks and farming and cattle. Actually grew up on a cattle ranch. And so anyway, I've been in the mortgage industry a long time. I moved here to Colorado, and I kind of thought I was going to retire. I thought I'd be done. When I came here, I took 2 years off completely. I turned my phone off, committed mortgage suicide. Everything that I'd built up, I just let go. I thought had some, wanted to move. I wanted to change, started drag racing and spent my money on some cars. And then all my kids were like, hey, Dad, I want to go to Spain. I want to, go to college. And, I got 4 kids, and anyway, 3 of them were pretty much moving on, trying to do some different things. And so, reality hit. At that point, I was starting completely from scratch. I did know a couple of people here in Colorado that we just hung out with. I'm not a super social person, so it was essentially one family. I knew some people from the racetrack, but again, wasn't really tight with anybody. I thought, I still had some confidence from doing loans, but I hadn't had to start over in a really long time. And so I went to work for a bank initially. I'd been a broker since about 2010. And I went to a bank in Fort Collins, and I kind of thought I would go and just grind and show up. And that kind of didn't work. And the area that I'm in is compared to where I'm from, the professionals here are very professional. The loan officers are pretty good. The real estate agents are very good. And so just to walk in and have my hand out and meet people at gatherings, it wasn't going to work. And I kind of beat my head for a little while. At the bank, I wasn't making very much, and any marketing, any spending I had to do was going to be outside of my W-2 income, and I wasn't making anything. And so I truly ran out of money. Again, I didn't really have any power to do anything as far as expenses go. And I was about ready to hit a dead wall. And so I went ahead and opened up my own broker thing again, Ticket Mortgage. And so that was, I think, time I got that going was probably late June of 2019. By the time I got my paperwork together and got my licensing stuff together. And then over the course of, that next 12 months or so, I did about 150. I don't know the number exactly, but it's about 150. And then this 2020, so that was the end of 2019, the last six months for that year. And then the last 12 months for 2020, I think I did 159 or something like that for about 51 million. So, and then this last year also with Ticket Mortgage, I have a couple other hot rods that work with me that are super awesome, and we ended up doing about 100 million. So between the little group here. So that was kind of the ramp up period. First 6 months, my daughter had left to go to school, and I worked out of her bedroom, and so I did that in the end of 2019, and right about the beginning of 2020, I moved into a small office that I'm in right now. So it was without money. It was, people laugh at me. I still don't have a CRM, I still don't have an inside sales agent. The first 12 months, I didn't have an assistant. It was me and one processor that I've worked with for about 8 years. And so it was just the 2 of us. And, I know a lot of people, at least where I'm at now, a lot of people probably give me a hard time about not having an inside sales, somebody calling leads and using HomeBot and CRM. Like I haven't used any of those things. And I'm not proud of that, but part of it's by design. I've kind of chosen to do some harder stuff to get a little bit stronger. And we're, And my philosophy is, I want to be able to, drop me off somewhere. I want to be able to self generate and build those relationships. And I found with myself, finding some shortcuts has only kind of hurt me in the past. I don't want to be, chasing the next thing, like use this CRM and use this program and use this and use that. I feel like picking up the phone, going to meet somebody, asking, delivering relationships. And, once I have a bankroll from the work that I've put together, then I can go ahead and start using some efficiencies on the relationships I have. But I wasn't going to use any programs to build those relationships.
Well, I mean, anybody listening out there, I think definitely use that as some advice, because there's so many things that you can do out there, and you can talk to, 10 of the top loan officers, and every one of them do something slightly different, right? Or some of them may have a different CRM, or some doesn't really have a CRM, or some people may have, I know there was one story about one, I don't know her name, but had done, I don't know, was doing like 80 loans a month, didn't have a CRM or something like that. But not saying the CRM is bad, but again, it's like what you focus on grows, and make sure that you have your focus on the right place, because there's all these different things that's coming out. You got Clubhouse that's out there. You got Instagram, you got Facebook, you got all these different things, distractions. There's so many things you can do, but and it's just like relationships, right? You have to also look at where's the relationships that are getting me the most amount of impact in my personal life, right? It could be personal life and professional life is where, and so if you start just, having all these shiny objects all the time, you're not diving deep into anything or anybody, it's going to cost you. And I think that what you're talking about, you're diving deep, and you're trying to really make sure everybody's taken care of, and you're going deep in that relationship, which is getting you multiple deals, and people are not probably leaving you as much because you're getting sidetracked, right?
Yeah, the picking up the phone, the amount of time. First of all, I'm with you. Me not having a CRM is definitely a lack of effort on my part for putting that together. And I actually have somebody now that's working on all those things that I just said I didn't have. And so my belief is I need to go get a loan before I need to worry about efficiencies and leverage. So if, my job is to get a loan first, and getting a loan is a task. Just like somebody might say, hey, I'm going to go get a CRM today. And then somebody listening would totally understand that. Where I would tell myself, I'm going to go get a loan today. After I get a loan today, then I can work on something else and I grow the business. But from the 0 to 150, if you're in a new area, for me, it's like, if you're dropped off in the jungle, I need to eat first. I need clothing, I need shelter and water. And for me, the job of being a loan officer is to get a loan. The only thing that matters is getting a loan funded, period. Without that, the CRM doesn't matter, HomeBot doesn't matter. None of these things matter. Nothing matters other than getting a loan. So, my number 2 thing would be get a loan a day. As soon as you get the loan done, then go do your other 2-3 things that you need to work on your business or whatever. But the first thing you got to do is get a loan. And if you do that and you focus on that, you'll actually become pretty good at it. You can get a loan by 5 o'clock at night. Maybe a month later, you can get a loan by noon. Maybe you can start getting a loan by 8 and get it out of the way, and then you can work on other stuff. And so at this point, I have a loan coming in a day on its own, just from the relationships I have. And so if I stay with that same thing and I want to build my business, it's just a matter of making sure that loan gets funded and there's no issues and there's good communication, then I can work on my business. But if I didn't get those loans coming in the beginning, I wouldn't have the resources to support having an ISA, to support having an assistant, to support, these different programs that can help leverage the relationships I have. And so I feel getting a loan, it is a tangible thing. It's a reachable thing. And I think nobody focuses on that. Nobody says, today I'm going to get a loan. They may be like, today I need to work on my CRM. Today I need to go to this mixer. Today I need to do these other 100 things. But getting a loan is actually, it's actually a to-do. Like I need to go get a loan. As soon as I get a loan, I can do something else. But my first thing is I gotta go get a loan. And all kinds of things come from that. You know, you meet 10 people and you're trying to get a loan, and you know, by chance, if you don't, you've still done these other things, but you're focusing on the hardest task.
I love it. I mean, I love it. That's really good. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. People overlook that. I mean, it's just that mentality. I love the mentality, because get a loan a day, and it's certainly thing, I've got off track certain times too, try to, it's kind of like lifting weights too. It's like, well, you're trying to form something to death. And it's like, at some point you just gotta like, at some point you just got to get fired up and grab the weight and go, right? Like you can form it all day, and then all of a sudden you're just failing at your knees and on deadlift. And then you go up there and say, you know what? I'm going to worry about one thing on my form. I'm going to grab the weight and I'm going to jerk it up, and then you do the weight, right? And so there's absolutely something to be said for just dialing in and say, hey, this is what I have to do. I got to go in alone today. And, I'm definitely going to add on, because first of all, people can add up in their, people get lost in it, right? It's like the CRM, like how many deals actually came from your CRM last year? And I think a lot of people, because when they get a freebie, almost like they feel a freebie from their like in their mind.
Remember that forever.
Right. Yeah. It's like, well, I got all these deals last year, and then they add it up. And it's like, we got 6 deals from your CRM. Or, hey, I run these Facebook ads and everywhere else. And then you add them up and you got 10 loans. And then it's like, okay, well, how many did you get on the other stuff? And so they never audit it, right? And that's what you're doing. You're auditing your business every day and go, hey, I got to go get a loan, and this is where it is. And so, and another thing on CRMs, by the way, out there, for me, I think the best CRM is something you're doing. I think you're just not saying it's CRM, but your Facebook. You have good following on your Facebook, and as your CRM, that is your CRM, because your CRM is just to get in front of people and market to people without directly talking to them. You're indirectly talking to them. You're indirectly talking to people all the time on your Facebook. So I think actually that CRM is probably the best CRM, because it's not transactional. It's very personalized. People see it, people know you. Like I got 3 messages just a little bit ago, direct messages asking about, hey, what about this, or what about that, right? It's a great CRM. That means they are coming to me because I'm out there, I'm talking. So I would say to you, Casey, is like you are doing a CRM. It's just people don't call it
CRM. That out. I got a CRM then, and it works great.
Got a CRM. You do, but seriously, I mean, it's working, because I see it, because you got a good following. Even you posted something on mine, and you shared something like that, and honestly, getting that much people talk about it means that you are engaging with people and you're doing a good job. So I think that's something to be said for that. So, but I love the mentality.
Yeah, Facebook's a great business portal. I mean, it's pretty hard to beat. If you play it right, which is which is be genuine and be coming from a giver's heart. And if the good thing is if you're trying to do the good thing, you're coming from a place of value, it's a great place to show that if it's true, and that's nice that it's like I said, a portal to where if you have something good to offer, it's a good way to present it, because it shows who you are, and it's pretty effective, because there's a lot of repetition to it. They can, if they see you saying the same thing 1,000 times, it builds a lot of trust, because they get to know you that way. They can hear you speak. They can see your mannerisms. There's a lot of body language if you do video as far as communicating. And so, it's a pretty effective tool, whereas, CRM, I think you can totally kill yourself. You come across like a cheap salesman if you turn on a lot of the auto, all the, happy 4th of July, and then happy Mother's Day and happy birthday. And, if you don't change your tune, then you blend in with everybody else and you lose a lot of individuality. And I think that's a dangerous thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but it's not better than them seeing your face. Of course, you can send out bomb videos. You can do a lot of things to make those better, but just the traditional turning on, the different campaigns and stuff. I mean, if you're doing that, you're successful and you're doing more loans than I am, then shoot me an email, tell me how to do that. I think that's awesome. But if you have those things on and you're doing less, then, maybe what I'm saying may have some value. Your face and your voice is a pretty good thing. This is a personal relationship. They're not working with Rocket Mortgage. So let them know who you are.
Yeah. I have a group just for my past clients. I'd create a group in there, and, we love on them all the time, do a little giveaways and just love on them and share messages and, share heartfelt messages directly to them and people. It's been a great thing because we have a great community in there. So yeah, I mean, because I'm not a huge CRM guy either. I mean, I have a CRM, but like I just don't. I mean, I've never, it's. I mean, I do love HomeBot. HomeBot, I think, is really good because I don't think there's very many CRMs really that are that great. Honestly, I've Jungo. I've tried different ones, but it's like, I'm not saying people are not more effective because they do different things with them than I am. So don't argue with me out there, guys. I'm just, again, this is a topic to make sure that, that you audit your business again. Like how much time do you want to spend during that? And the mentality that Casey, you're saying out there going, go get a loan today, definitely take that on. Before we wrap up here, I know that you're trying to grow Ticket Mortgage there in Colorado, and anybody out there in Colorado, obviously, around your area, hopefully they're hearing the passion you have and that you're looking to get some more loan officers over there, aren't you?
Yeah, we're getting licensed in 5 more states. So we're California, Colorado now, and then Tennessee, Arizona, Nevada, Texas, and Florida are really close to being added. So yeah, I hate to throw a number out there. I know you saw a number on Facebook or whatever that was a really big number. Yeah, the number was $1 billion, and so we did about 100 million last year, and a billion is the number, but I don't have a time frame for it because I'm not exactly sure how that's going to come together exactly, but I do have some things in motion, and so if somebody's looking to do some growth, there's definitely some possibilities, with us. And this last year we had, just a handful of loan officers with me, and, one of them who's a seasoned loan officer doubled his income with us. And so that was probably my greatest highlight of 2020, in all honesty. So I haven't built something like that before. And I've just kind of recently been really happy with the kind of feelings you get helping other people get where they want to get. And I've been doing that with real estate agents for a long time. And now that I'm doing it with some loan officers, it's a satisfying feeling that's hard to explain. And so there is some room for people that, that want to grow and do really well. And hopefully I get to match up with some of those people and bounce some ideas off of them and have a mutually beneficial relationship. So, yeah.
Awesome. How does everybody contact you, Casey?
Just Casey at ticketmortgage.com. You can find me on Facebook, Casey Knowles, and my number is 970-218-5902. They're calling now.
They're calling. Yeah, they heard it. They heard you. But that's awesome. So anything before we close up here you'd like to say?
No, I really appreciate your voice, appreciate your podcast, and you preach the truth, and I learn a lot from you. So I listen to you on the way to the gym in the morning, and sometimes on the way home, and I dig it, man. The stuff that's not easy, that sounds like the same stuff you've been hearing for 20, 30 years actually works. And if just get a couple things done today and builds confidence, and you keep doing the same thing and add value and don't show up empty handed, and success feels really good. Like winning feels good, and win the day, do a couple things and win the day, and the confidence builds up, and income, everything else. But it's a pretty good thing, man.
I love it. Truly an honor you being on here. look forward to collaborating again in the future, and just, I'm sure that I'll learn more from you as we go. And thanks for the focus on getting one a day, because I think we all kind of fall off that once in a while. Is just a get a loan a day, no matter what's going on. You know, feed the pipe, baby, feed the pipe. But thank you so
Absolutely.
much again, Casey, and yeah, I look forward to seeing all your success.
Hey, thanks, Adam.